Hi everybody and welcome to another Heaton House Farm Supplier Showcase. It is our fifth week now and it has been amazing to see so many of you tuning in each week to meet some of our excellent suppliers that we have on our supplier directory. So my name is Jo and I'm one of the event coordinators here at the venue and I love my job. There are just so many different aspects and never 2 days are the same. Sometimes you might find me in the venue showing couples around who are looking for the perfect venue for their special day. Or you might find me working in the office, answering emails, helping couples in the planning stages of their wedding. Or, which has to be the best part of my job, is being out in the venue, working alongside our incredible team, coordinating couples' wedding days, ensuring everything runs as smoothly as possible. Now, I'm joined tonight by Sarah, and she's in control of the tech. So if I can just ask you to give us a thumbs up or a wave in the comments box below, just to ensure that everything's working exactly as it should be. Perfect. So I am delighted to be joined by one of our many talented photographers on our supplier directory, and that is Chelsea at Chelsea Shoesmith Photography. I've worked with Chelsea on many events here at the venue, not just weddings, charity ball, as well as our client experience event. Now, when you are looking to book a photographer, you need to ensure that you book a photographer that reflects who you are as a couple. Because you want to make sure that when you receive your photographs back, that these memories are going to be there forever for you to cherish. So I think it's about time that we welcome Chelsea to our chat.
Hello, Jo. Nice to see you.
Hi, Chelsea. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I hope you are as well.
Yes, I'm really well, thank you. As you can imagine, Heaton House Farm is rather quiet at the moment. So what have you been doing with yourself, trying to keep yourself busy during this unprecedented downtime?
Well, I'm lucky to be quite outdoorsy, really, so not much has changed in that respect. I've set myself up with a challenge of running just over 5 miles per day for 4 months in a row. That's just an average of 5 miles. So I've been doing that. I've been doing loads of baking, new recipes, and enjoying some forced downtime, really.
Oh, lovely. Well, I hope you've been making some very healthy recipes. I hope there's no cake there.
There's been loads of cake, unfortunately, but I have done some healthy things as well.
Oh, good. So I know quite a bit about you, Chelsea, so we've met on many times. So would you like to tell everybody else a little bit about yourself and how you actually got into photography?
It's a funny story how I got into photography. My first part-time job was at Matalan, and I was working alongside another, obviously my colleagues, and I was talking to one of them who was getting married, and I said, "So you having florist? Who's doing your cake and who's doing your photography?" Just because I was nosy and I loved weddings, and she said, "I'm not having a photographer." I said, "Oh, I'll do it," and I was only joking unless she was being serious. Then of course I was being serious. So luckily she wasn't losing out on anything because she wasn't having an actual photographer, so if I messed it up it wasn't so bad. But I loved it, and then I did her neighbour's wedding and her neighbour's cousin's wedding, and it went on from there. And I've always loved weddings from being a young child. If I ever got invited to a wedding, I was fascinated, like, wow, look at the cake. And, I thought it was amazing. So to have a job in that industry felt so grown up. I was only 17 when I started weddings, so nearly 12 years I've been doing it now, so it seems like quite a long time.
So that's not exactly necessarily what you actually trained to be in. It's not something that you really thought that you might do and just sort of fell into it, which is really good, isn't it?
No, I've always been really creative. I always knew from a young age I didn't really want an office job. I just didn't know exactly what I did want to do. But as soon as I picked up a camera, I knew that was the thing that I wanted to do.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's very good. So do you have a particular style that you work towards, or do you allow sort of like couples see what they're like and how it works?
Well, of course, the couple are at the forefront of what I want to achieve from a wedding, but ultimately, I want the couple to sort of be happy with my style. And I don't really know what my style is. The fun is the biggest part of it, and then also I want the couple to feel relaxed as well. So not too posy. I know the word relaxing and natural is thrown out all the time on every photographer's website, but I guess if you read all of my reviews, they all say that we had such a fun time whilst Chelsea was taking our photographs, and that's kind of the biggest compliment I've ever received, really. Just because I don't want it to be a hard time for the couple. I want them to enjoy it, really.
Of course. Well, that's what it's all about, because I suppose they've got to feel very comfortable with you. So do you work on your own, or do you have a second shooter that would necessarily take some other photos as well at the same time?
It's funny, really, because of the few weddings I have done this year so far, in February this year was the first time I'd ever had a second shooter, and that's like over 300 weddings. So obviously, predominantly, most of the time I work on my own. That's not because I'm against working with anyone else. Just I've learned to keep myself busy on the day. I really enjoy the responsibility and, dare I say it, a bit of pressure. I enjoy sort of necessarily being here, there and everywhere. Yeah, like I say, I do offer second shooters to my couples, but so far I've only had one.
Oh, good. Well, that's nice. So how many weddings approximately do you shoot a year? Do you have like a maximum that you would take on booking wise?
I don't necessarily have a maximum. It's important that anyone that does book, we really get on. So that number normally falls anywhere between 20 and 25 weddings per year. That allows enough time for me to put as much effort and attention into each wedding. I really don't want the weddings to become a chore or a number, and I find that amount gives me enough time to stay creative and keep up with keep a passion for it, really. I do a lot of weddings abroad as well, and it would be a logistical nightmare to try and do any more than that, I think.
Absolutely. And it's really nice that you're able to spend that quality time as well afterwards, getting everything ready to send back to the couples as well, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I think I'll probably end up talking more about that later, but it's really important that I get on with my couples and they get on with me, and we sort of similar personalities and we have the same sense of humour. My sense of humour is terrible, but often
I know.
I know. I laugh at my own jokes, but if my couples and I get on, it's really good because we end up staying friends, and it makes the whole process just so easy.
Fabulous. So if anyone has any questions, if you are thinking as we're talking, pop them into the comments box below, because we will ask in some Chelsea some live questions towards the end. So get your thinking caps on and get thinking.
Just as long as they're not difficult pub quizzes like I've been doing.
Yeah, please only relation to photography for weddings, please. So are there any additional services that you actually offer to couples?
Yes, of course. So naturally, even if you don't intend to, it always falls into wedding photography, newborn photography. And if you think every guest that's at the wedding that you're photographing, they know somebody who wants their party photographing. So I absolutely love catching up with couples if they have had a baby or they're having a party, just because I end up being friends with them. I find when I do photograph a party and there's somebody there that says, "Oh, Chelsea, how are you getting on?" And I think, wow, it's just really nice. And if you go to the supermarket, you see people that were at such and such bridesmaids, mums, cousins, sister. It's so anyway, back to what you were saying. At the moment, I'm doing some doorstep portraits.
Okay.
Even though they've got the word doorstep in, I actually do photograph them mainly in people's gardens. So obviously that's a doorstep one that's been shown now, but that's quite funny. Yeah, so doorstep portraits, newborns, and then obviously some branding photography as well, which everyone sort of assumes branding photography is, a white background headshot, and it's not. I try and introduce my wedding sort of skill set really into that, to introduce vibrant photography that people can use across their social media, really.
Oh, that's really, really good then. So it's nice that you're able to tie not just the wedding photos, but all across the board of seeing couples through to families, etc. So that's really nice that you can do that.
I know. I get to indulge myself by taking extra pictures as well.
So if a couple was interested in booking you, do you have a particular booking process that you actually follow?
Yeah, of course. So first of all, I try and put loads of information on my website. I really want couples to look at my website, especially the photographs and the About Me page, and think, yes, I really do resonate with that photographer, or I can imagine myself in those photographs. So once you've done that bit, the bit of research on your part, then send me a quick email, phone call. I'm not scared of the phone. I know a lot of people are. Get in touch with me and find out if I'm available on your date. And then if we are, well, of course you'll be available. If you do want to book, I've got a form that you can fill in online. Don't worry if not all the information set in stone. Just put as much as you can for now. I'll always meet up with you before your wedding so we can go through any finer details. I appreciate you won't know everything that's going to happen at exact time when you do book. But then I take a deposit to secure the date, and the rest doesn't need to be paid till 8 weeks before. And 3 weeks after your wedding is when you'll have your images. So I do pride myself on offering a really quick turnaround, just because I like to, it's around about the time when you'll be getting back from your honeymoon, or that initial excitement of the wedding is just about to die down, and I can give you another dose of excitement by giving you your wedding photographs.
Oh, that's really nice. It's nice that couples aren't having to wait such a huge length of time to get, because it's having the wedding and then you sort of come down a little bit. So to get the photographs back so quickly, that's just really, really good.
That's another reason why I don't take on too many weddings, because I've always stuck to that. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes it's harder than others, but I've always stuck to that deadline of 3 weeks. And I'm quite proud of that, really, because I know some people do take longer.
Mm. Perfect. So do you have any packages that you offer to couples, or is it a little bit more on a tailor-based basis depending on what they're looking for?
I do, but like I say, they're not necessarily set in stone. So I've got two, and the only difference is, the first one is digital only for couples that, are getting married now and they don't necessarily want to think about extra stuff like albums and whatnot. If you do want a bit more, I've got a second one, which is just an hour's extra coverage, but then also extra coverage and extra images, but also you get an A3 framed print, an engagement shoot, and an album. So that's quite nice, really, because often after the wedding you've had all that excitement, and then sometimes if you get a bit of cash as like a wedding gift, you can put that towards your album. That's quite nice. But if I do a lot of elopements and smaller weddings. If you just want a few hours, I do an hourly rate as well.
Oh, so it is quite flexible then, depending on what a couple are looking for throughout the day, which is always good to know.
Yeah, the most popular one, to be honest, is the one without the album. As much as I love doing albums, I'm not an album sales lady. So some of my couples do like to have an album, around their first year anniversary, whenever they like, really. It's frozen.
Okay, sorry, I just lost a little bit of connection there. So apologies for that, everybody. So do you meet couples before the day, even if they don't have an engagement shoot? Do you meet them and have a chat with them beforehand?
Ideally, of course, 100%. I'd love to meet them. That falls into ensuring that we all get on and like a mansion on fire. So some of my couples do live far away. So that is a very, very rare occasion that the least we could do is a face-to-face video chat. But in an ideal world, we'll meet up. And that gives us a chance to have a coffee or a wine and go over any sort of details. And I'd also like to know the kind of people that they are as well, and get to know them, because that's just as important. It can help me with sort of extra info on how to photograph their wedding. So if I know that such and such who's coming to the wedding is really important to them, or something's going to happen throughout the day, I know that I can photograph that, and that will be important. If I don't meet up with them and I don't hear those conversations, then perhaps I wouldn't be as clued up on the wedding day to get the best for them, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Well, that's the same for us coordinators as well, because like yourself, we spend a lot of time with our couples over the course of the day. So it's really important that you've got that really good relationship already, so that you feel comfortable. So when we're bossing them around and you're bossing them around, it all works fine together.
I'm not that bossy. Yeah, no.
Okay, well, maybe it's just me then.
No, you're not bossy. I've worked with you lots of times. You're not bossy.
Thank you. So Heaton House Farm does have some amazing landscape here. There are some many photo opportunities. So what are your favourite spots that you find photograph really well?
Well, I've done over 40 weddings at Heaton House Farm, and I'm still finding new bits, which is quite exciting. I feel like I've got a bit of an advantage because I was only 18 years old when I photographed my first wedding at Heaton House Farm, and afterwards, because I love the venue so much, I was like, so do you have any jobs here? So I worked part, which I bet the coordinator at the time would have thought, what on earth is this woman or girl? You know, so I asked her if there's any jobs, and there was, and I absolutely loved it. So because I got that sort of not necessarily inside knowledge, but I'd seen the venue in rain or snow or, you know, all sorts. And so if ever I did want to say, oh, Mick, could I just go over to the cornfields, or is there any chance we could borrow your tractor for a picture? All of those kind of things. Whereas, so I did feel really lucky because I know a lot of suppliers did come into the venue for the first time that morning. They'd never seen it, and they wouldn't necessarily have that relationship. So I'm really lucky. But yeah, like I say, I never run out of places. Each time I'm finding somewhere new, which is quite nice.
Yeah, there's some beautiful images, as we can see, that are showing up on screen now. I mean, the cornfield, that's just one of the amazing photos that we have here. It's lovely. really credit to you. And that one as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really beautiful. So no, that's really good. So as we do weddings all year round, and obviously couples might be looking at having sort of winter weddings, do you have any advice for them? Wouldn't affect their day, would it, in any way in regards to photography?
Well, in terms of advice, don't be alarmed if the weather's not like perfect, obviously, but that's normal. That can happen in June, July, August. So just kind of embrace it. Don't worry about from a photography point of view, because there's always so many opportunities and locations to get fantastic shots. The wedding we're seeing in front, well, on the screen now, was in December. And you know, it was an overcast day, but with the high-tech lighting at Heaton House Farm, and of course there are the pagoda. Well, there's the pagoda and there's the nice porchways. I don't mind getting rained on, and some of the most creative shots are obviously done. You know, you can backlight them with off-camera flash. I don't worry about it. I've literally done some weddings where all of the group shots are inside, and I think we got just one photo of the couple outside, but I think that goes down as one of my most favourite weddings, just because I tried harder. And yeah, the atmosphere was amazing because obviously all of the family were together rather than some outside, some at the bar. It was lovely.
Oh, it sounds it, because the weather is the one thing that you can't guarantee on your wedding day. It doesn't matter if you pick a November date or through to a summer date. It is the thing that you have to work with, isn't it?
Beyonce, you can't book the sun, can you? So
you certainly can't, not at all, no. So do you have any techniques for our couples who are maybe feeling a little bit camera shy, maybe not quite that comfortable with having their photos taken? Is there anything that they can do, anything that you can help them with?
I know it's hard to believe, but it really isn't that bad, honestly. I mean, an engagement shoot would put your mind at ease because you would know that how I work and what it's like to be in front of my camera. There's nothing that I'd do differently on an engagement shoot that I would on your wedding day, apart from the fact I'd spend longer with you on your engagement shoot. Also, you don't have the limitations of your wedding gear, so I might say, oh, would you just mind going up this rock? Or, you know, don't worry, I won't make you rock climb or anything. But I know that on your actual wedding day, it's time is of the essence, really. So I only ever drag you away. I say drag, that's a terrible word, isn't it? Don't even take away a maximum of 10 to 15 minutes, which doesn't sound like a long time, but it really is when it's just you two. And I won't be talking to you throughout the whole thing because you'll be so busy catching up, like, oh, have you seen what such and such is wearing? Oh, how was the dog this morning? Blah, 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 blah. You'll be catching up, and I'll be getting so many moments that you won't even realise, and I'll keep the momentum high with my rubbish jokes. And before you know it, you'll be back with your friends and family eating canapes and drinking champagne, and it'll be over within a flash. So I know it sounds difficult to believe, but it really isn't that bad. But an engagement shoot would sort of nip any of those thoughts in the bud before the big day. But you'll feel like $1 million. So on the actual day, you'll probably love it. We've paused again. Well, I haven't. It's frozen, I think. It's frozen. Okay. You're back.
Hi everyone. Sorry about that. I lost you then for a moment, Chelsea. I think it's these build-up of clouds interfering.
I thought you were getting bored of me already.
No, you're all right. Maybe after 30 minutes I might have had enough, but you're all right for the minute. So sorry, I was just asking about the group shots. Is it something that you try and ask couples to try and have a maximum amount of group shots that they would actually take, just so that it doesn't interfere too much with their drinks reception, and they can also get their own portrait shots as well?
It sounds really cheesy, but I always call those the mantelpiece shots, the ones that you give to your family. There's no right or wrong number. The average that I normally get asked to photograph from my couples is between sort of 6 and 12, but one thing to remember when you're at home before the wedding, writing the list, all have Uncle John and Philip and blah, blah, blah. Think that from the moment you leave your ceremony through to the moment that you sit down, that's all the time you have to say hi to everyone, mingle, drink champagne, give everyone a hug, all of that kind of thing. So if group shots are really important to you, then absolutely fine. But if you do want to do just a few key ones, then obviously you can get back to mingling. But luckily, as I pride myself when I do take you two off, it will literally be for a maximum of 10 to 15 minutes, so I won't be dragging you off for ages. So that's sort of a bonus, really, because it means that the time sort of used really wisely. I want you to, and I don't want you to look back afterwards and think, oh, photographs took ages. I really want you to think, oh, that was a breeze, and get back to the canapes.
Absolutely. No, that sounds like a good idea. So do you ever give the option of being able to Photoshop photos, or is that not something that you really believe in?
Well, if I had a pound for every time I've been asked to make a groom look like Brad Pitt, then I probably wouldn't be working anymore. So, for example, I would never, make someone's nose slimmer or arms slimmer, or I don't know what else you'd want me to do, make your ears different, I don't know. But, however, if there's something that's there that shouldn't be there, if you've got a bruise on your nail, or which I know is a bit random, but say we took a close-up shot of the rings being put on, so something that, well, anything that shouldn't be there or isn't normally there, then I can get rid of. Say if a page boy had fallen and they've got a graze on the I don't know, somewhere that's visible. Yeah, I can get rid of that.
Oh, that's okay. So nothing major though. We're not going to turn our bride and grooms into something that they don't.
No, I do. Just before you move on, I was thinking, and say if a bride or whoever was feeling a bit conscious, then I would always try and make it my priority to take photographs in a flattering angle in the first place, rather than afterwards thinking, oh, I should have done it like that. So I always try and take the best images that I possibly can, just so when people look at them, they feel happy and beautiful, that kind of thing. It's frozen again.
Album for the photos, or do the pictures go onto a USB so that couples will then have the flexibility of how they want to do with their photos? They can either sort of allow guests to have a look at them. How does that work?
So I provide all of my images on an online gallery, whereby if your friends and family do live far away, it's great because you can just send them the link and share the images with them without even having to leave your home, which is really convenient in this day and age. If you do want an album, of course you can order one. So it's really easy using the online gallery to select the images that you'd like. So I always advise, if an album's this many pages, or pick between this many images and this many images. And then once you've selected those images, I will design the album, but I won't order it until you've approved of it, you're happy with it. But the albums are gorgeous. The one you've seen on this screen at the moment is so heavy. It really is a family heirloom, really. I've got one here, which isn't isn't one I sell anymore, but it has got some photographs of Heaton House Farm, and I was looking through it before, and it's amazing because had I have not printed this off, I would have forgotten that I'd done this, which sounds crazy. This is in the forest.
Oh, lovely.
Is it 156 acres? I shouldn't know this, but like I seem to know.
It's 165.
I seem to know lots of facts.
More, apparently it's more.
So anyway, there's lots of images in here that had I have not printed them off, they would have been on the hard drive somewhere. So I do think it's good to practice what I preach really and print images off.
Definitely, yeah. But I suppose it's nice if couples have got them on a USB as well. If they want to pass them on to family and friends, they can do whatever they choose with them as well. So it's giving them that possibility.
Yeah. They're all fully high resolution and edited in my style as well, which sounds really self-indulgent, doesn't it? But that sort of goes with the booking process. If you like my style, I really don't want to be just another box ticked. Oh, we need a photographer, or she'll do. So once you do have your images, hope the whole collection will look really nice together. So sharing with your friends and family is obviously a bonus, really.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the questions that I have for you now, Chelsea. So let's see if anyone has actually put any into our comments box. So, so we have one question. So there we go. So, hi, do you do packages and video with videography? And sorry if you've already answered this. She's only just joined us live.
No problem. So obviously I do packages. I don't do videography. I'm sorry. I am fascinated by some of the really talented videographers that we see. I know you had YSD on last week. I'm in awe of them, but I just don't feel like I could justify video. So photography is my only thing. But if you do want to hear a bit more about my photography packages, just send me an inquiry on chelseashoesmith.co.uk.
Perfect. That's great. Well, it's been lovely chatting to you tonight, Chelsea. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
No, you're very welcome at all. And please hope that everyone rejoins us next week. And that will be Monday, the 22nd of June, and that'll be at 7 o'clock. And now we are going to be talking to the lovely Stacey from Love Lights the Way. So everybody enjoy the rest of the evening. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.